Have you ever wondered why so many serious heart problems seem to happen in the early hours of the morning? For many adults over 60, the hours between midnight and sunrise can place extra stress on the heart. While age itself plays a role, certain nighttime habits may quietly increase that risk without most people realizing it. I'm Dr. Eleanor Tomlinson, Senior Health Specialist, and in today's video, we're going to explore 7 evening habits that many older adults follow every day. Some of these routines may seem completely harmless, yet they could be putting unnecessary strain on your cardiovascular system while you're asleep. More importantly, you'll learn simple changes that may help support better heart health. Be sure to discuss any medication or treatment changes with your own healthcare provider before making adjustments. If staying healthy and independent is important to you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, we share practical health information designed to help older adults make informed decisions about their well-being. Let's begin with habit number 7. Many people who take blood pressure medication follow the same routine every morning. It's convenient, it's familiar, and for years it's been the standard advice for many patients. But researchers have also explored whether the timing of certain blood pressure medications could influence how well they control blood pressure throughout the night. Here's why this matters. Blood pressure doesn't stay the same all day. It naturally rises and falls over a 24-hour period. During sleep, it usually drops, but just before waking, your body begins releasing hormones that prepare you for the day ahead. As a result, blood pressure starts climbing again. For some older adults, that early morning increase can be much greater than expected. Some clinical studies have suggested that, for certain patients and certain medications, taking blood pressure medicine later in the day may provide better overnight coverage. However, the right schedule depends on the specific medication, your medical history, and your doctor's recommendations. That's why you should never change the timing of your prescription on your own. Instead, ask your healthcare provider whether your current schedule is still the best option for you. Sometimes a simple conversation can reveal choices you never knew existed. But medication timing is only one piece of the puzzle. There's another evening habit that millions of seniors enjoy every single day without giving it a second thought. It feels relaxing, completely harmless, and even well-deserved after a busy day. Yet it may be quietly affecting your circulation long before your head reaches the pillow. And that's exactly what we'll uncover next. Habit number 6. The comfortable evening routine that may be working against you. Here's a question worth thinking about. Have you ever finished a healthy dinner, settled into your favorite chair, and thought, I've earned a little rest tonight? Most of us have. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with relaxing. But one small detail about that evening routine often goes unnoticed, and it may have more to do with your heart than many people realize. I remember talking with a retired school principal who proudly told me, Doctor, I haven't missed my morning walk in years. He stayed active, watched what he ate, and kept up with his regular checkups. By all appearances, he was taking good care of himself. He genuinely believed he was doing everything right. Then I asked him a simple question. What does a typical evening look like? He smiled and said, Honestly, I eat dinner, sit down to watch the news, and before I know it, it's bedtime. That answer caught my attention. The issue wasn't his morning routine, it was the 4 quiet hours between dinner and sleep. Here's why. Every time you stand up or walk, the muscles in your legs help move blood back toward your heart. You can think of them as your body's natural circulation assistants, but when you remain in the same position for hours, they stop helping as much, and blood flow becomes slower than it should be. Picture traffic during rush hour. When vehicles keep moving, even slowly, everything continues to flow. But when traffic stops completely, congestion begins almost immediately. Your circulation works best when it keeps moving. Now, relaxing isn't the problem. Sitting completely still for several uninterrupted hours is. So how often should you move? A simple goal is to stand up every 30 to 45 minutes. Walk to the kitchen for a glass of water. Stretch your legs. Walk around the room while the commercials play. Water a plant. Even a minute or 2 of gentle movement can help break up long periods of sitting. The retired principal I mentioned didn't stop enjoying his evenings. He still watched his favorite programs every night. The only difference was that he made it a habit to stand up several times before bed. Sometimes the smallest changes are the ones people find easiest to keep. But don't get too comfortable just yet. Even if you build this habit into your evenings, there's another mistake many older adults make at dinner time that may place even more pressure on the heart while they're asleep. And that's where we're headed next. Habit number 5. The grocery store surprise that changed one man's dinner forever. Have you ever picked up a food package because the front label made it sound healthy? Words like heart, smart, light, or balanced can make us feel we're making a good choice. But sometimes the most important information isn't on the front of the package at all. I remember walking through a grocery store with one of my patients, Robert, a retired engineer who enjoyed cooking but preferred quick dinners during the week. He picked up a frozen entree, smiled, and said, "This is usually my healthy option." Instead of looking at the picture on the box, we turned it over. "Let's check one thing," I said. When Robert looked at the nutrition label, his smile faded. "I've been eating this for years," he said quietly. "I had no idea." The surprising part wasn't the calories, it wasn't the fat, it was how much sodium was packed into a single meal. Now, sodium isn't the enemy. Your body actually needs it to function. The problem comes when we regularly consume more than we realize, especially later in the evening. Think about carrying a backpack on a long walk. At first, adding a little extra weight hardly seems noticeable, but after a while, every step feels heavier. Your heart faces a similar challenge. When your body retains extra fluid because of a salty meal, your heart has a little more work to do while you're trying to rest. That doesn't mean you should never enjoy your favorite foods. It simply means paying closer attention to what's hidden inside them. So, where should you start? Next time you're shopping, don't let the front of the package make the decision for you. Turn it over and read the nutrition label. Compare similar products. You may be surprised how different they are, even when they look almost identical on the shelf. Whenever you can, build your evening meal around fresh ingredients, vegetables, lean proteins, beans, whole grains, and foods you prepare at home. Small changes made consistently are often easier to maintain than trying to change everything at once. A few weeks after our grocery store visit, Robert laughed and told me, "I still buy frozen meals sometimes, I just buy very different ones now." That simple habit didn't make shopping more difficult, it made him more informed. But here's something that caught even Robert by surprise. Even after improving his evening meals, there was one bedtime habit he never questioned, and it may have been having an even greater impact on his overnight health. We'll look at that next. Part 4, habit number 4. The bedtime routine that seems healthy but may be interrupting your heart's recovery before you head to bed tonight. Let me ask you one simple question. When was the last time you drank a glass of water? Many older adults answer, "I avoid drinking anything after dinner because I don't want to wake up during the night." At first, that sounds like a smart strategy. But when George, a 71-year-old grandfather, shared the same routine with me, I asked him another question. "So, how much water do you usually drink after 6 p.m? He smiled and replied, "Almost none. If I get thirsty, I just wait until morning." He genuinely believed he was helping himself get a better night's sleep. The surprising part? His body may have been paying a different price. As we sleep, our bodies continue losing water through breathing and normal body processes. If we go to bed already dehydrated, some people may wake up feeling tired, with a dry mouth, or less refreshed than expected. Staying well hydrated throughout the day supports normal circulation and many other essential body functions. Think of your body like a garden. A garden doesn't suddenly become unhealthy because it misses one watering. But if it's allowed to dry out day after day, the plants gradually become less vibrant. Your body works in much the same way. Small habits repeated every evening can add up over time. Now, this doesn't mean you should drink several large glasses of water right before bed. For many people, that simply increases nighttime trips to the bathroom. So what's the better approach? Instead of trying to catch up at bedtime, spread your fluid intake across the entire day. If you're a little thirsty in the evening, a small glass of water may be enough, depending on your healthcare provider's advice and any medical conditions you have. People with heart failure, kidney disease, or other conditions may have individualized fluid recommendations, so it's important to follow the guidance you've been given. A few weeks later, George told me something that made me smile. "I stopped treating water like an all-or-nothing decision," he said. "I simply stayed hydrated during the day instead of avoiding it at night." Sometimes the biggest improvements come from changing the way we think, not from making dramatic changes. But here's the twist. Even people who stay active, choose balanced dinners, and keep themselves well hydrated often overlook one final nighttime habit. It doesn't happen in the kitchen or the living room. It happens in the bedroom, and many people don't realize how much it can influence the quality of their sleep and overall heart health. We'll explore that next. Part 5, habit number 3. The bedroom habit that many people never think to change. Before I ask you about this next habit, picture your bedroom for a moment. The lights are off. The room is quiet. You've finished your evening routine, climbed into bed, and you're ready for a good night's sleep. But what if one small detail in that room is making it harder for your body to fully recover? A gentleman named Harold mentioned something interesting during one of our conversations. "Doctor," he said with a laugh, "my wife says our bedroom feels like the middle of summer all year round." He preferred sleeping in a very warm room, thick blankets, closed windows, and the thermostat turned up high. To him, it simply felt comfortable. Then I asked him another question. "When do you usually wake up?" "Almost every morning around 3 or 4, he replied. "Sometimes I fall back asleep, sometimes I don't." That answer made me think about his sleeping environment. While everyone's comfort level is different, research suggests that a cool, comfortable bedroom can help many people fall asleep more easily and stay asleep longer. When a room is too warm, the body may have a harder time lowering its core temperature, a natural part of preparing for restful sleep. Think of it like baking bread. If the oven is too hot, the outside may cook quickly while the inside doesn't develop the way it should. Sleep isn't exactly the same, of course, but your body also performs best within the right conditions. A room that's too warm can make it harder for some people to get the deep, restorative sleep their bodies need. Now, this doesn't mean you should turn your bedroom into a refrigerator. The goal is simply to create an environment that helps you sleep comfortably. For many people, that means keeping the room cool, reducing bright lights, and limiting unnecessary noise. Small adjustments often make a bigger difference than people expect. Harold decided to experiment. He lowered the thermostat slightly, switched to lighter bedding, and kept the room darker at night. A few weeks later, he smiled and said, "I didn't realize how much more refreshed I could feel in the morning." The interesting part wasn't that he completely changed his routine, it was that he changed just one part of his environment. Sometimes improving your health isn't about trying harder, it's about removing the obstacles that quietly get in the way. And that brings us to the final habit. It's something millions of people do every single night without giving it much thought. It feels completely ordinary, yet it may influence not only the quality of your sleep, but also how your body prepares for the next day. Let's take a closer look. Part 6, habit number 2. The habit that may be raising your heart's workload without you realizing it. There's one nighttime habit that millions of older adults follow because it feels completely natural. In fact, many people believe it's actually helping them sleep. But if it becomes part of your routine every evening, it may be asking your heart to work harder at exactly the time it should be recovering. I'm talking about eating a large meal too close to bedtime. I remember meeting Susan, a 70-year-old retired librarian who always enjoyed her biggest meal in the evening. "It's the only time my whole family is together," she told me. Dinner is our favorite part of the day. There was nothing wrong with enjoying family meals. The timing, however, was creating a problem she never suspected. When I asked what usually happened after dinner, she smiled and said, "Oh, we eat, watch a little television, and I'm usually in bed within an hour." That answer immediately caught my attention. Here's why. After a large meal, your digestive system becomes extremely active. Blood flow naturally shifts toward your stomach and intestines as your body begins digesting food. If you lie down shortly afterward, digestion continues while your body is also trying to prepare for sleep. For many people, especially older adults, this combination can contribute to discomfort, acid reflux, and poorer sleep quality. Think of it like asking two teams to use the same room at the same time. One team is trying to clean and repair the building overnight. The other has just started a large project that demands everyone's attention. Neither job works as efficiently. Your body also performs best when digestion and overnight recovery aren't competing quite so much. That doesn't mean you should skip dinner. It simply means giving your body a little time before lying down. For many people, finishing dinner 2 to 3 hours before bedtime is a simple habit worth discussing with their healthcare provider, especially if nighttime reflux or poor sleep has been an ongoing issue. Susan didn't stop enjoying dinner with her family. She simply moved the meal a little earlier whenever possible and saved lighter snacks for later if she became hungry. A month later, she told me, "I still enjoy dinner just as much, but I don't wake up feeling as heavy during the night." Sometimes the smallest adjustment isn't changing what you eat, it's changing when you eat it. But we've saved the most overlooked nighttime habit for last. It's something almost everyone does. It takes only a few minutes, and improving it may benefit not only your sleep, but your heart, your blood pressure, and the way you feel the following morning. Let's look at the final habit. Part 7, habit number 1. The nighttime warning sign that could be telling you your heart needs help. We've finally reached the habit I wish more people took seriously. Let me ask you something. Has anyone ever told you that you snore loudly? Maybe your spouse nudges you during the night. Maybe someone has joked that they can hear you from another room. Or perhaps you've started waking up feeling exhausted even after spending 7 or 8 hours in bed. Many people laugh these things off. I've always snored. It's just part of getting older. But what if your snoring is trying to tell you something much more important? I remember meeting David, a 72-year-old grandfather who insisted his wife was exaggerating. She says, "I snore like a chainsaw." He laughed. I tell her that's just proof I'm sleeping well. Then his wife added something he had completely forgotten. Sometimes, she said quietly, you stop breathing for a few seconds, and then suddenly gasp for air. The room became silent. David had no idea that was happening, because of course he was asleep. That conversation changed everything. His doctor recommended a sleep evaluation, and the results showed he had obstructive sleep apnea, a condition that affects millions of adults, many of whom don't even know they have it. Here's what happens. While you're asleep, the muscles in the back of your throat naturally relax. In some people, especially as they get older or if they carry extra weight around the neck, the airway can become partially or completely blocked. When that happens, your breathing may briefly stop. Your oxygen levels can drop. Your brain senses the problem and quickly wakes you just enough to reopen the airway. Most people don't remember these awakenings, but they can happen dozens or even hundreds of times during a single night. Imagine trying to read a book while someone switched the lights off every few minutes. You could keep opening the book again and again, but you'd never really settle into reading. Sleep works in a similar way. Your body keeps getting interrupted before it can spend enough time in the deepest, most restorative stages of sleep. And here's why that matters for your heart. Each time your breathing stops, your body releases stress hormones and your heart has to respond. Night after night, those repeated interruptions may contribute to high blood pressure and increase the risk of other cardiovascular problems in some people if the condition is left untreated. The encouraging news is that sleep apnea can often be diagnosed and treated. If you or your partner notice loud snoring, choking or gasping during sleep, long pauses in breathing, morning headaches, or excessive daytime sleepiness, don't ignore those signs. They're worth discussing with your healthcare provider, who can determine whether further evaluation is appropriate. A few months after starting treatment, David smiled and told me, "I thought snoring was bothering my wife. I never imagined it might also be affecting my own health." Sometimes the biggest warning signs are the ones we sleep through. Part 8, if there's one message I hope you remember from today's video, it's this. Protecting your heart doesn't depend on one dramatic change. It comes from the small choices you make every evening. Standing up and moving after dinner. Choosing meals lower in sodium. Staying well hydrated throughout the day. Creating a bedroom that supports restful sleep. Being mindful of alcohol before bedtime. And never ignoring warning signs like loud snoring or pauses in breathing during sleep. These habits may seem small on their own, but together they can help support better sleep, healthier circulation, and overall heart health as you get older. If you found this video helpful, I'd love to know which habit surprised you the most. Share it in the comments below. It may encourage someone else to pay closer attention to their own health. And if you enjoy practical, evidence-based health information designed for adults over 60, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.